So first of all, very good evening to everybody. And I'm glad that you are part of this session. As you know, how we assess the athlete, whenever it comes to sports, it's a completely different ball game because it's not just type of person which we adhere to. We try to understand what are their needs, how we go ahead with the supplementation or dietary practices and food. So first thing first, whenever it comes to sports nutrition, the first question which has been asked to me, okay, so now you will be giving us supplements. That is what we do, right? But let me tell you one thing that when it comes to sports nutrition, it's always start from the fundamental nutrition that what you eat, the whole foods, what kind of hydration practices you have, which are going to help you to fuel your health, to fuel your performance, to ensure that you will have a better recovery. And as Sir rightly said, that it's not just the performance factor of it, but it's more about how faster the athlete recover. That will always uh, ensure that how much lifespan in his or her entire lifespan, how much overall performance factor is there, how many years of performance that athlete can sustain. And we try to ensure that the performance years will be at max at possible. Now, whenever it comes to sports nutrition, consuming whole foods, adding multiple varieties of foods in the diet on the basis of their assessment, on the basis of their sport is one of the most crucial thing. Now, whenever it comes to sports performance, it's very important to understand that how do we analyze the type of diet which we need to plan. Because when it comes to athletic performance, it depends on the skill, strength, stamina, and the recovery part of it. So the sports which is skill based will always have more of a speed, reflexes, limb-eye coordination, concentration. Whenever it comes to strength based sports, something like wrestling, boxing, then there is more of a muscle loss, muscle mass which we focus on. The sport which needs more stamina, we will always focus on hemoglobin level, iron level, overall oxygen carrying capacity, how immediately the oxygen is transferred throughout the blood. And for all kind of these sports, we try to make sure that recovery has to be really, really better. Now, when we talk about all these factors, there are certain determinants which we look after. So total energy expenditure will always depend on the intensity of the exercise, the duration of physical activity, the body weight of the athlete, genetics of the athlete, amount of food which is being consumed, the body composition, what are the hormonal levels, how the blood work is there. And apart from that, in body composition analysis, if the sports demand any kind of body weight structure, then what is the body weight, the BMI, fat-free mass, the organ mass, skeletal muscle mass, fat mass, age, gender, any kind of hormonal imbalance, especially when it comes to female athletes, we focus on their iron, their energy levels, and their hormones also. Because all these factors are going to decide that how much energy expenditure is there and how much energy requirement needs to be taken care of. Now, while balancing this energy balance, we figure out multiple factors. And there are factors which will have influence on energy intake, and there are factors which will have influence on energy output. So the appetite, the environment, the metabolizable energy, the palatability, psychology of the athlete, these are the things which we need to consider whenever we are counseling the athletes when it comes to planning the diet. Apart from that, nutritionally, basal metabolic rate, exercise activity, exercise intensity, non-exercise activity, and what is the thermic effect of food. These are the factors which we focus on. Apart from that, first thing first, most of the athletes, like we try to ensure that the hydration strategies are followed very well. Now, this is the very basic chart, which we ensure that we educate our athletes to follow upon that. Try to check your urine color. If it is dark brown, then you are very dehydrated. The time it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter, your hydration status improves. Now, whenever it comes to hydration in athletes, how do you understand that, okay, you have to give this much amount of fluid or this much amount of water to your athlete? So these are the guidelines which we follow, that at least for pre-workout, 2 hours before the exercise, you can give them water, which is around 500 to 600 ml. Okay. It may include certain amount of carbohydrates also. 30 to 40 minutes before the workout, it's fine to drink water, but avoid any kind of carbohydrates or macros in your water. Okay, after the warm up or in between the exercise, if it is long run or something like that, the water intake may differ from 500 ml to 1000 ml, which may include carbohydrate, it may include certain electrolytes also. Okay. And during that exercise pattern, if you are exercising for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, then every 20 minutes, 200 to 300 ml of water can be consumed. Now, post-workout, within 4 to 6 hours, we may consume 1 to 1.5 liter of water, but we need to check how much weight loss is being taken care of. And apart from that, we need to include certain salts or electrolytes in that also. Now, these are baseline hydration strategies. Now, moving to the fueling part of it. Whenever it comes to food, okay, it's very important to understand how do you manage the energy intake. If it is low intensity exercise, then it can be zero point 0.6 kilocalories per gram, okay, of body weight. Now, consume these foods very frequently. That can be done, okay. Energy intake can be lowered like 0.6 to 1.5 kilocalorie per gram. And now here, again, we have to understand the portion sizes of the food also. This may go up to higher side the time the intensity of exercise increases. Now, very important factor when it comes to your planning a meal is carbohydrate loading. You must have heard this word, like for sports nutrition, carbohydrate loading is something which is go-to thing. Like, okay, I'm loading up. Okay, I'm fueling up. That's my training load. As per your training load increases, okay, as per your match day comes nearby, okay, we try to introduce carbohydrate in certain amount, and that is actually decided by your exercise intensity. We change your exercise intensity, and accordingly we change the carbohydrate amount of carbohydrate in diet from 1.5 gram per kg to almost 4.5 to 6 gram per kg. We can go up to 7 gram per kg per day also. Okay, so that increasing the amount of carbohydrate and tapering it down is called as carbohydrate loading. This is the simplest way to understand how you can change the amount of carbohydrate in the diet. Okay. Now, along with that, we need to take care of proteins in the diet also. Okay. So managing the carbohydrate, protein, and fat within your calorie budget is one of the most crucial part. Okay. Now let's understand how do we plan the diet. Like I work with most of the marathoners. Now there are high rocks athletes whom I work with. Okay. I work with grassroots level footballers also. And trust me that whenever I tell them that you need to eat good amount of carbohydrates as well, that becomes the most challenging part for them. So first question is that are we supposed to eat these many amount of carbohydrate? But if you are into the training zone, which requires endurance training, your overall fuel plan changes. How does that happen? So main fueling plan is eat on daily basis in off season and most days in season, except event day. Okay. Ensure that your athlete is leaner and healthier. Pre-event training, it can be for beginner athletes from the training day. So what you need to do is from morning events, try to fuel up your energy stores and then taper it down. Training and event, make sure that you should not overload yourself in the morning. It has to be sustainable within smaller portions so that it will provide you energy, consistent energy throughout your event. It should not cause any kind of gastric disturbances. Okay. Now, how to do it? So 1 to 2 gram per kg body weight of carbohydrate 2 to 4 hours before the training. Okay. During, you can drink to the thirst as your thirst. Like if you are feeling thirsty in between, try to sip on water. Don't gulp the water, which is very, very important. Okay. After that, try to add like approximately 1 gram per kg body weight carbohydrate with little bit of protein, around like 20 to 25 gram of protein after session is completed. Now, if you are on carbohydrate restricted diet, then avoid the excessive amount of carbohydrate. Okay. For before event consumption, you can also think of adding up caffeine 20 to 60 minutes prior. Okay. For endurance athletes, pre-meals can change. It is completely customized. There are certain endurance athletes who will eat earlier day, fuel up themselves very well, and on the day of the event, they do not require anything. Okay. At the same time, there are endurance athletes who just need that very minimal amount of food, maybe 20 grams of carbs or 10 grams of carb, just to recharge their body and then start with the event. Okay. Now, when it comes to 2 to 5 hours rides, like if there are long runs or something like that, then again, the hydration strategy becomes very, very crucial. During that time, you can provide them good amount of electrolytes, okay, which will have certain amount of carbs with it, okay, and give them good amount of nutrition also, okay. If the endurance rides are more than 5 hours, okay, if the sport requires more and more duration, now during that time, we have to make sure that 2 to 4 hours prior, we give them almost 1 to 2 gram per kg body weight carbohydrates in the diet. Okay, small carb based diet. It can be nuts with certain kind of dry fruits, or it can be just fruit with some nut butter can be given. Okay, during the race time or during their competition, we can adjust the carbohydrate requirement around 45 to 60 gram per hour. Okay, again, we need to track this. We need to trace this when they are practicing so that during the event, the excess amount of carbohydrate will not add up as a load on the body. So snacking as per their body weight, if we are calculating 1 gram per kg body weight carbohydrates and 5 to 20 gram of protein after each session of completion, we will be able to manage their overall energy intake, their recovery and refueling also. If it's a group ride, then we need to again understand that post-workout protein will always remain similar, 20 to 30 gram of protein. But we may need to tweak with the carbohydrate consumption throughout the race. All right. Now, moving to next is interval training. If there is a competition which requires certain interval, then we need to again come down wherein we have to understand that, okay, we may need to total carbohydrate consumption can be 6 to 12 gram per kg body weight, depending on the session. The protein requirement may go from 1 to 2 gram per kg body weight, and fats will be 15 to 30% of total calorie intake. Now, if we are able to manage that, your athlete will be able to perform better. Now, this entire data is been actually came to the conclusion after studying multiple of athletes, almost 150 to 300 endurance athletes. And then this has been decided that, okay, this kind of dietary strategies are actually giving better results. Now, when it comes to cyclists, the requirement of minerals are also high. So trying to understand the calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, potassium, sodium requirement is very, very important. So whenever it comes to overall requirement, we need to add first thing first. Foods which are rich in calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, potassium, and sodium are very, very crucial. So how much is the requirement? When it comes to calcium, 1000 to 1300 mg of calcium daily basis because it is essential for bone health and muscle strength. Magnesium for better recovery, for muscle strength, and to have better muscle function. Iron, now when it comes to men, it can be 8 mg. In women, it may increase. Iron is one of the crucial ingredient which most of the people don't consider, especially athletes. Women needs to be told that, okay, you need to add certain iron-rich food in your diet so that your overall performance can be better. Most of the time, women forget to take even the dietary iron in their entire food. So adding the small amount of food, like types of food, like it can be spinach, it can be pumpkin seeds, it can be iron rich, either it beetroot or pomegranate, or it can be millets, but it needs to be a part of their diet. Zinc, potassium, sodium are extremely important and has great significance as per the calorific need of the athlete as well. So when it comes to cycling, okay, we need to understand what we can eat. So 3 to 4 hours before your ride, you can go for chicken, brown rice, steamed vegetable. What to drink? Around 500 ml of water. You can have herbal teas or herbal teas and sports drinks also. 60 to 90 minutes before the ride, it can be a banana of carbohydrate-based snack. And what to drink during the sport? It can be 250 ml of water during the sport itself. You can also have a cup of black coffee 60 to 90 minutes before your cycling event. 30 to 40% of the cyclists do prefer these strategies and it works better for them. Before the ride, you can always have something which is handy if you really need it. So like 2 dates and 2 walnuts can be ideal thing, or just energy gel can be a wonderful thing to have. Few sips of electrolyte drinks before they start with the train, before they start with the event also works wonderfully. Now, if it is a morning session or a midday session or an evening session, generally it's morning and midday sessions only, it's important how do you fuel yourself. So the having that carb-based snack on electrolyte drink handy can give you fantastic results. So either in the morning session, if you have fueled yourself well, then you can decide to go for empty stomach. If not, you may have something which is a snack and a sip of coffee and you can start your day. Okay. Throughout the session, you can go for electrolyte drinks or you can go for carb and electrolyte combination, which can be a fruit juice also along with some salts, and it may work better for you. Now, when it comes to post session, it's important to have that wholesome meal within that 30 to 60 minutes of that session. Okay. During midday session, it's important to have your pre-session meal. So do not skip your first 4 hours of meal in the morning. Don't try to go fasting if you are having midday session. So try to aim to consume like 2 hours prior, something over there. Otherwise, your hunger pangs will be too high. There will be glycogen depletion when you are trying to perform, and you will feel actually energy exhaustion phase during your performance. So never ever do that. Okay. Post session, try to balance it out. Try to make sure that you will have a heavily protein based snack along with the carbohydrate, wherein you can have a balance of all the three macronutrients at a time. Okay. Afternoon session, again, pre-session, breakfast and lunch is crucial. Post-session, the protein along with the high carbohydrate meal is equally important. If there are multiple sessions throughout the day, that is game one, game two, or something like that, then we need to understand that 2 hours prior, just immediately within after the session and during the session, electrolyte works wonders. Now let's understand that how we can have nutritional recommendation for athletes overall. When it comes to endurance athlete, 1.2 to 1.8 gram per kg per day of protein is the requirement. After exercise, 20 to 30 gram of high quality protein can be given. Carbohydrate requirement also changes during exercise, 30 to 60 gram per hour during the exercise, which may last for 1 hour. And after the exercise, 1 to 1.5 gram per kg of body weight. Fluid consumption can be 5 to 7 ml per kg for 4 hours prior to exercise. And during exercise, first thing first, assess the sweat rate and then develop the hydration plan. Okay, that is very important. During exercise, addition of sodium in the diet might be considered as a better strategy, but we need to understand how much is the sweat loss. Or for that, we understand the weight before the training, after the training, and we are understanding the sweat loss and urine loss also. So we calculate that and then we try to understand the overall sweat loss. Just give me a minute, huh? Are there any messages in the chat box which are, I hope? Yeah, okay, all right.
So far,
Well,
good.
yeah. I thought there was something which I need to take care of, so that I just waited for a while. Now, as I have already mentioned about this, I just want to tell you this, that whenever it comes to female athletes and male athletes, it's important to understand the requirement of the athlete. So either it's carbohydrate or protein or fat. It's important to understand how much amount of carbohydrates are we adding in their diet. So first thing first, weight is one of the most crucial criteria when it comes to athlete. But one more factor which we can assess is their skeletal muscle mass or organ mass. And we understand that how much is the requirement of protein. Okay, because the time you are incorporating protein, we have to look forward to the hydration strategies in athlete also. Okay, most of the athletes, like I have athletes who are into bodybuilding sports, so they feel that having lesser amount of water will give them more bulk. Okay, but the time you are including the proteins in the diet, you have to maintain the overall hydration amount in their diet. Okay, so it's very important that how do you change their protein and what type of protein are we giving it to them and what type of exercise are they doing. What happens if they are not following it? I know there is a speaker who is going to cover this in next session, but if we are not following the strategy just because we are having athletes in weight category and they need to reduce weight in certain time, like it can be sometimes 48 hours, sometimes it can be 5 days, 7 days time. Now, during that time, if we are following a diet which is low in energy, there is a possibility of deficiencies of multiple vitamins and minerals. Along with that, it does have impact on immunity of the athlete. If it's a female athlete, then the menstrual cycle gets compromised, the bone health gets compromised, the endocrine functions, the hormonal imbalances goes for toss, hormonal balance goes for toss. And apart from that, it also affects the way your athletes think. Because most of the time, as Sir rightly said, that every athlete wants to win. Okay. But it's very important that the road towards that winning goes via a structured, disciplined way of eating and their overall exercise pattern also. So to understand the capacity of your body, to understand the ability of your body, to train your body to achieve that winning spree, and for that, to train your mind and gut to eat in certain manner is very, very important. Okay. Because if we are following extremely low energy diet just to reduce the weight, it will affect the strength and the stamina and apparently have effect on the performance of the athlete. So it's very important to understand that balance your energy intake, balance your nutrition intake. You do not compromise on nutrition, may whatever happens. Okay. So if there is athlete, like I work with the wrestlers, like currently we scored really well in wrestling, and we have got almost 3 medals in wrestling just last week. So one thing which I have realized that these all athletes are from very rural areas, and they have certain things in their mind which are set as a myth in the mind that if I'm eating this, okay, then I'll be getting result. And if I do not eat this, then it will affect my strength and stamina. So the most important part which we worked on their overall awareness about food and diet, what kind of foods are giving what kind of nutrients and how it is benefiting to perform you better. Now, these athletes are used to have load up. Like I spoke about carbohydrate loading, and one of the athletes told me that you spoke about carbohydrate loading. So I am loading myself with lot of carbohydrate in the morning before my game. But somehow I feel lethargic after some time. So when we assessed her overall gain, we realized that the overall amount of carbohydrate in that meal was so high. It was nut-based milk. It was like a lassi, okay, which was around 350 to 500 ml, which she need to gulp before the competition. Now, that much amount of carbohydrate loading will always have impact on her performance in a negative manner. So we need to correct that and tell her that, okay, if this is the thing, then let's analyze your total energy intake. In that, adding vegetables in her diet was a challenging part because she felt that, okay, vegetables se kya hi hoga? What are my vegetables are going to do in my diet? Because I need protein and vegetables are not having protein. So when we told her that you need iron and that is provided by these vegetables, you need iron which is provided by these fruits. So we may replace that loaded energy via that nut milk. We can just distribute it, will cut it down and shift the focus to veggies and fruits and balance your calories, and you may perform better. So what happened was that she told us that first time I felt lighter and my energy levels were very high. So this is the impact of diverse diet can be done when it comes to athletic performance. And the time they see the impact on their overall performance, the entire scenario changes. And that's how the awareness for the athlete is very, very important. Okay. Now, when it comes to iron levels in athletes, it's very common deficiency in all the female athletes. So iron transport and delivery of oxygen to your blood is very, very important. And iron is one of the nutrients which does that. So always ensure that if your athlete is feeling tiredness, lack of energy, shortness of breath, or any poor recovery, say these are the symptoms of iron deficiency. Analyze it, assess it, get the blood work done, make them understand it's not only hemoglobin, it's ferritin level, serum iron in the body, and make them understand what they want. And then you start with adding any supplementation if needed, if dietary iron is not sufficient. Okay. So individualized approach, see how the age is changing, see how the hormone balances, see what kind of exercises they are doing, what kind of intensity of exercise and duration of exercise has been taken care of. Pre, intra, post exercise fueling is equally important. Look forward to the macronutrients, micronutrients, try to unbalance out the energy and try to balance out the hydration strategies in the athlete. Okay. So when it comes to intake of iron, calcium, vitamin D, for girls, 14 to 15 mg per day. For women, 19 to 50 age group, 18 mg per day. Iron from meat sources, these are heme iron, and non-heme sources, which are plant sources. You can combine both of them. Okay. Try to combine the iron-rich food along with the vitamin C-rich food so that iron absorption can be done better. Restrict the diet, like whenever it comes to energy restriction. I'm so sorry for the noises around me, but yeah, when it comes to restrictive diet wherein we are trying to avoid certain foods, make sure that they will not avoid the foods which are rich in iron. Okay, so most of the time it is been told that do not eat excess of carbohydrates, and athletes stop eating all the varieties of foods. So try to include that orange or lemon or kiwi in their diet after the meal. That is really great. Okay. When it comes to calcium levels, 1500 mg of calcium per day is the requirement. Try to make sure that your athlete is meeting that requirement. Apart from that, every calcium dose has to be distributed throughout the day. Okay, so if you are having two doses, like 500 mg or less than that throughout a day, that will be better. If you are seeing that vitamin D is dropping again and again, then 1000 to 2000 IU vitamin D dosage can be given per day, and it may benefit your athlete for better bones, and it will avoid from the deficiencies of vitamin D. Okay. Now, nutrition periodization is one of the most important factor. It is considered that you always check the free fat-free mass, carbohydrate, energy availability, intake of energy, expenditure, and what is the overall RDS impact, and then plan it. How do you plan it? Guys, please try and avoid scrolling on the screen, because if you are scrolling, then there is a disturbance on the screen, and I'm also not able to see the screen. Well, so monthly periodization, that tapering down the carbohydrate and protein and iron protein consumption throughout a day, or weekly periodization, wherein we are increasing the amount of fueling and tapering it down till the race day, and then micro amount. These are the things which we consider during that time. Okay. Train low, eat better, improve your glycogen storages. Train low in fasted state, try to utilize your glycogen storages, and then recover better is what we focus on. Okay. Train high, balance out your carbohydrate is one more strategy which we consider. So always try to have higher amount, like from day 1 to day 4, the high carbohydrate, up to day 4, the low amount of carbohydrate at pre-training. When it comes to during training, again, high carbohydrate to low carbohydrate. Post training, we keep the high carbohydrate intake, and evening meal, we go from low carbohydrate to higher carbohydrate consumption when it comes to tapering down this periodization schedule. Okay. In combat sport like boxing or judo or wrestling and taekwondo, we try to understand that what is the requirement of the athlete, what is the weight of the athlete, and along with that, we try to taper down their calorific intake, their weight category, and as per the weight category, we try to change their macronutrient intake. Okay. And one more factor which we need to consider, that gut health of the athlete. So ensuring that a better gut health of the athlete is one of the most crucial sign. We do not restrict fiber in excessive manner, but we try to make sure that their bowel movements are fine, their satiety is fine, and along with that, we make sure that the overall fiber intake and overall vegetable intake is being considered. Body water needs to be considered, how much amount of hydration is required. Agar combat athlete hai, their weight is one of the concern, then we do restrict their water intake at certain level, but we make sure that they should not feel dehydrated. Okay. Apart from that, these are certain tables which I will definitely circulate with all of you. As we are having time constraint, I'll quickly jump on to the last session of mine, which is about the supplementation. When it comes to supplementation, we need to understand that there are ergogenic aids, there are dietary supplementation. Iron, calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, B12, these are the supplementation which we need to consider. Always assess and then provide the supplements. When it comes to protein or fatty acid supplementation, we can always check the amount and then accordingly add the diet. Along with that, there are ergogenic aids which enhance the performance of the athlete. So caffeine, creatine, sodium bicarbonate, beta-alanine, nitrate, and vitamin D are the primary ergogenic aids. These are the supplementation which improve the performance of the athlete by improving the central nervous system, enhancing the muscle contraction, improving the energy generation in the body, balancing the acid-base balance in the at cellular level. Uh, Ergogenic aids like beta-alanine. Atiya Gul, can you please stop scrolling down on the screen? I'm not able to see my screen. Then beta-alanine can be acid-base regulator in your cellular level performance. It will actually improve your overall muscle fiber performance and help you to improve your antioxidant function in the body. Can be given 1.5 to 3 hours before the performance and with the intervals. Nitrates, one of the best thing wherein the overall blood flow can be improved, and especially the endurance athlete have seen multiple differences when they are adding nitrates. It can be a simple beetroot juice and they are seeing phenomenal performance improvement in their diet. Okay, in the performance. Vitamin D, again, assess and then add it in your diet. 10 mg per day is the requirement, but assess if there is deficiency, then you go ahead with it. Okay, so basically the key factors of our session are eat real foods, add protein to each meal, hydrate before your athlete feels thirsty. Carbs are crucial. Your recovery starts with your each meal, so never ever take it for granted. Okay, meal timings are very, very important. They can enhance your performance. Listen to your body and have a disciplined approach towards your nutritional strategies. Okay, and always ensure that you have individual approach. Either it's a wrestler or a cricketer or badminton athlete or a runner or a sprinter, or it can be your cricketer. Make sure that your nutritional strategies, if you want them to perform better, the individualized approach will always works best. Thank you so much.